All right, I'm going to start live streaming right now. Too late. I caught you.
I'm moving stuff around. I think it's when I sit. Yeah, I'm kind of getting all the light away.
Oh, yes. You're lucky we're early.
I know.
Not too many people make fun of us. Hopefully a little bit. Oh, yeah, we're live, baby. All right. Cool. Okay.
Oh, no. We'll see. Let's see if that helps with the lighting. A little bit, I guess.
Right. Cool. So now, while you're doing your thing, I'm going to welcome everybody to the 1% Tribe tonight. Tonight, we have a special guest. We're kind of excited because there was going to be three of us, but Amy has completed. She has one more giant seminar she has to take. And she will be helping us with a lot of these issues that we're going to talk about tonight. But tonight is I wanted to interview Dr. Rachelle Myers. This is Dr. Rachelle Myers. Everybody knows. We are actually
everyone.
Two different parts of the house, which is kind of cool. We were going to
strange
up together, but my camera's not big enough. We've tried it once before, haven't we?
Yeah.
We had it on the same camera. Yeah. You're sitting all awkward. It's very terrible. But
it's hard to share the same chair.
Yeah, it's the same chair was kind of tough. So we decided to do it this way. Tonight is about we talk a lot about epigenetics and our subconscious mind. I want Rachel to understand where we're going to go with this one. She has done a lot of health coaching in probably the last 3 years. Last 2 years has been intense.
More focused,
and I think you gotten a really good grasp on the mental game of all this stuff, the mental subconscious program that we have when we look at all this stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit about tonight. We won't keep it too long because I know we got a bunch of spring breakers. Hopefully they're enjoying watching us with the beach. If you are watching and you're from Michigan and you went down south, in the comments, put a picture of a beautiful sunset, because that would be awesome just to see how the weather is down there. But we're pretty excited. Spring break is upon us, so we're going to do it. But as of last week when we talked, I want to give a couple cool little updates on the health world. So we'll start with that, Rach, first, and then we'll dive in. Okay. So ones that I kind of found this week, I found this one fascinating. Ready? There is 7 foods that you can eat that help depression. Interesting. Right? Isn't that funny? 7 foods.
So what are those? You going to share them, or are you just going to leave us hanging?
I'm gonna share them. But I just wanted to give the draft. So it's not just depression, but that down, gloomy Eeyore feeling. Maybe you're not just a depressed person, but these are some things that'll sound kind of interesting as we've been talking. So 7 foods. The first is oysters. Interesting.
Really?
Yes. Second is any type of seafood, right? So that's kind of cool. That's very cool, right? And then we have, this is a crazy one I didn't even think about, grass-fed or organ meats.
Oh, don't make me eat liver. I'll cry.
That's right. And grass-fed organ meats. But it can help depression. Who knew?
So I'll take one for the team, I guess, but it's not going to be on the daily menu.
You can switch it. You can have, we can do peppers. We cannot wait for that. The garden season is upon us. And last year, I think that was our best batch of vegetables, actually. We're going to do way better this year.
Minus the zucchini. That was a debacle.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
well, I'm talking
or was it? No, it was the squash. You mowed the squash, remember?
Yeah, we're going to fix that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do your Facebook video thing. I am doing that. she found this cool like way to build a raised garden. Oh, it was genius. It makes total sense. I've always thought, well, I put all that work into a raised garden and let it rot over time, right? Because you'd leave it there. This lady used
There were
blocks,
there were
landscape blocks,
patio
patio
bricks.
blocks, and like stuck wood in it all the way around, made it perfect. And then you could literally undo it, put it away for the winter if you wanted to. Like if you wanted to.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, you need to use untreated cedar.
Yeah. Oh
You need
yeah.
to make sure that you use untreated wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's another one. So far our list:
Okay.
oysters, seafood, grass-fed organ meats,
Ugh.
peppers, which is awesome, cruciferous vegetables. Ready? Does anyone know what cruciferous vegetables are?
Trick
Quiz time.
question.
I had to look it up. That's why I said it. So you have broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale. They're all kind of in the same family. So that is what they consider a cruciferous vegetable. So
I'd include Brussels sprouts, but they're higher in sugar content. So if you're
they're
watching
also cruciferous. They're also cruciferous. They're in that family. So any of those, I could have named quite a few, but anything in that family is another great one for. It must be for just general mental clarity, like as you go. So
they're high in fiber. They're high in fiber too.
Right. So there are studies that are showing this. Here's another one. Another thing that came out. I don't know if this is. I've kind of known it in the herbal world, but peppercorns. So peppercorns well, I'm sorry, we're skipping. This one's not for depression now. Okay. So peppercorns, I want to tell you what they're inside them, the different white and the black peppercorns. You get pepper, basically, right? So they have this substance called pepperine in them. And so pepperine it has a ton of good properties. It's antioxidant. It can help with liver disease, cancer, anti-aging, digestion, weight management, which is very interesting because the pepper increases the palate, right? So you have that palate, and then you might eventually eat less, just basically having that pepper within your stuff, and blood sugar control, which is kind of cool. So remember that with peppercorns, black and white peppercorns. That was pretty cool.
It cleans the palate, kind of wakes up your taste buds.
No, yeah, it stimulates another part of it, so it tells your brain it's richer food, kind of similar to why a chef can give you a steak that looks like this giant plate, and then you have this like little tiny thing, and then you're going, why am I full? Doesn't even make sense. Like that would never happen, but it's so well seasoned, right? That your brain just gets all the taste, and so that's why when you do that kind of stuff, and pepperine has so much antioxidant type properties that it's just good to cook with, right? So that's kind of what our show's about, is like look at little tiny things you can do, as we go forward too. So, all right, now here's an interesting one. I got to get on my phone just for a second, because I wanted to make sure. Okay. So in 2022, the Alzheimer's Association found, and this is the next step. So we had the peppercorns. So you had the 7 foods of depression, right? You had the peppercorns, really good antioxidant, tons of stuff, kind of, a go-to food, kind of like beets or, something really good like that. This one's very interesting. If ultra processed food. So ultra processed would be cereal, really processed. Fast food is an ultra processed food, something that is like super in the realm of almost not a food, right? Because they processed it so far in. So the studies are showing that there is a major, you can actually see however much ultra processed food you have per day, creates a cognitive decline as we age. So in 2022, they found if you did 20% of your diet from some kind of ultra processed food, they give example like breakfast cereal, frozen food, soda. That person, just 20% of your diet for that day, will have a 28% faster rate of decline as we age in our brain abilities. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So that was a new study that was out there, and yeah, that was pretty ridiculous as far as that
Another
goes.
way to think about ultra processed is basically any meal that doesn't require a lot of time for you to make. The quicker you can get it, the more ultra processed it's going to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the hard issues that we end up having. Darn it. I'm going to get back to, I'm sorry. I am trying to find our live. Okay, let me see. Oh, nope. Okay. I won't stay too long here.
So you went over 4 of the foods, so we're still missing 3 because you said there was a total of 7.
No, those are the foods. So the seven foods are oysters, seafood, organ meats, peppers, and then cruciferous, the broccoli.
Okay.
Yeah, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, etc.
And staying away from ultra processed. So those are the 7 things?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. There we go. There we go. Come on, baby. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get on our live feed real quick, and then we can go crazy. But I don't remember where I found that before. Oh, come on, Jeremy. Okay. All right. Hang.
Water break. How much water did you drink today?
A ton. I'm doing pretty good at it.
Yeah, you've always been a camel.
Yeah, that.
Remember, we go to the movies.
Really hasn't been an issue for me.
Good segue of not to do, because when we were in college, we ate poorly. We were poor students. So poor that in the summertime we did not have air conditioning. So we would go to the matinees and we would watch movies all day long. And then Jeremy would like, "Oh, can I get a drink of that?" And we're like, "Okay, sure, you can have a drink." And then he'd pass it back and it was completely empty. So yeah, never share a drink with Jeremy. You won't get any back. That's the moral of that story.
That's probably very true. Yes. There it is.
But he'll get you a refill. He'll go refill it back for you. So
yeah,
I guess there's a benefit.
Well, and that's the tough part is, oh, there we are. Finally. Okay, cool. I just like to do this part is like keep it up here with no sound on it, just in case there's actual like comments or anything. So there we go. Okay, sweet. So let's talk a little bit about this. So for my audience, we talk a lot about subconscious programming. So epigenetics is going to be in my opinion, the healthcare of the future. And what that means to us is that we have 95% of the time, we have a program that's running in the back of our head, right? And the subconscious, 95% of your day. And it makes it very difficult when that subconscious is running to try to change those habits that occur, in any part. So I'll give an example of smoking. So some people, they could probably go without a cigarette, and that they might be able to, but because of the subconscious habit and where they've had their exact times they've done it, they automatically reach for that cigarette and then begin the process, right? So what I wanted to talk to you about is, now that you've done many people over time, now you've had so much success with the program that you do in the office. in the weight loss aspect of things. What are some of the tips and tricks that you could just say would help some of your clients as we went forward? Like, getting that subconscious program to change is such a big deal. It's the big deal, right? And so, like a good example is like my ladies that do not drink water, right? And it is so hard to change that program. For a lot of people have that issue. Miss Teresa, who will watch this later, probably talks to me all the time about it. She tries, and certain markers get her to, remember to do it. And so what would you, give me a good, little 1% improvement you could do per day?
Well, I mean, I would not eat until 2 p.m. So for me to wait until my body would tell me I was hungry or even thirsty, my water habit is something that I have to work on all the time and be hyper vigilant. So I relied a lot on alarms at first. So you have your phone, you can use your timer depending on, if your wake up time is different every day. So you can just set your timer per, the time that you eat. I coach eating 6 times a day in small increments. So my timer was set for 2.5. Well, I actually had alarm because my schedule was pretty consistent. But then, I was forgetful at the beginning. I would forget my phone, and then someone around the office would say, "Hey, Rach, your phone is jingling." So the people around you can help you. So make sure that they know that you are doing change so that they can help you keep accountable to the change that you're doing. So alarms, and then creating a community around you to help support. That's also key. Let's see. Oh, and the other thing is it's called habit stack. So if you're having a hard time remembering, but you already have a habit set, marry that new habit with that old habit.
Ooh, I like that.
So and I teach this with my clients at the office for those who know about pelvic tilts. And I habit stack it with getting up in the morning and going to bed at night, because I teach them laying down. So, and then they are struggling with that. Then I say, okay, when you brush your teeth, after you brush your teeth, or before you brush your teeth. And then we move to alarms. So those are 2 or 3 ways of kind of trying to remember your new task, because it's not going to become automatic until you've practiced it for a long time. And it's more than 60 days. It's probably 90 plus days until it becomes automatic.
I think that's the key. Like, as the good, there is good and bad in, like having the good news is that you're, or I'm sorry, bad news is we're getting tracked and we're on the phone 24/7, right? So that causes some health things. However, you also have the positive of having something with you all the time that could actually set you up for success in some of these habits that you're talking about, especially in the eating aspect of it, like where I really like that. Like when you have a habit stack, right? That's kind of how I've always, like, if I've ever tried to improve or do stuff, the people on this video will know in the morning, my routine is basically I do a visualization in the morning. I basically start there, eat good. And I actually do a French lesson in that time frame. I've done it, oh God, for like 3 years.
Oh,
no, I think I can read it. I know.
You
I'm pretty good now.
it.
I could actually understand a lot of it. Like, I don't know if I could actually speak it as well, because it's just kind of me doing, like, it's like learning how to read basically. But
you can follow our conversation when I'm talking to my dad.
I can read everything now, which is awesome. But for a 47-year-old guy to actually have this little habit that takes me literally 3 minutes a day, and to be able to pull that off, I'm pretty proud of that, actually, because I mean, like, you got to stick with it. And if you do more, you get better result. Like, that's what's so cool about 1%. So when Rachel's talking about this stacking, like, once you do that, once you stack whatever that habit is on top of each other, that's going to end up being not 1%, but 1.1. And you're talking every single day. Yeah. So now all of a sudden we got 1% turns to 2, turns to 4, turns to 8, right? So it's exponential in the ability of your body to actually improve. And this is one of them. This is one where your habits of your mind and how you eat can change all of it. Think about the subconscious program of sitting down and watching a movie, right? So like, where most of us have gotten in the habit of going to the snacks, right? Going to the refrigerator or whatever, right when that movie is happening. So what do you have any advice?
For us, it was before. Oh, movie time. Get the snacks ready.
Oh God, yes. Remember our first couple of years in practice? Oh my God. The ice cream sundaes we would do. And that the pizza guy knew my name by heart.
Yeah, we're like, okay.
The delivery guy literally knew.
We had a secret.
Literally knew. Hey, it's Jeremy. Hey,
for ice cream run. That's bad.
Yeah. Bad. So I try to get restaurants that now I have a really good. Oh man, if you're in Battle Creek, it's called Denocio's. It's across the street. Do not make them busy enough where it takes me forever to get my food, though. I'm just letting you know. But Denocio's across from our office makes the best gyros. But I get their what they call the Athena salad. Oh, so good. It's like it's so good. It's worth it. But the lady knows me. And that's how it goes when I find something I like. So anyway, but I stacked a different habit, right? So I went to a different restaurant that would have, and I went and got a salad instead of pizza. The other stuff, right? Because the other stuff, you're talking like just a Sunday that we would.
I mean, the other stuff is not bad, but when you're trying to get to your goal weight, you have to eliminate the easy sugar. So, right. and you have to make it harder for your body to be able to get the energy source, which you want to have it to burn fat. So it will never burn the fat if you continually give it the easy sugar.
Right.
So we do.
I like
pizza.
That one.
We do
and the other one,
cream.
Yeah, the other one that is hard in this subject, and it always will be, but is the guilt that people feel. Like the guilt that if it happens, it's over. And I always. That probably is one of our biggest human things that is really hard, is watching people struggle with that guilt, right? So like they miss it on one day, and then they guilt, and then they're just kind of give up on it, right? And that's one reason I said the 1%, because if you work on it every day, you're not really, it's a small miss, right? If I'm going to change 100% of my whole life, right, that's a big miss if you miss. But 1%, you're not even going to notice, right? So try just changing a little bit. I mean, if you're really struggling, I always say, like, instead of having the bowl of ice cream, have the cup of ice cream. Like something like that could start that process. This does not have to be done overnight, right? And that's one of our problems that I have. I think we've always struggled with.
And I was really, really addicted to sugar. And if I'm not careful, I can slip and fall back in old patterns really, really quick. And before the program that I did and coach, what I did was we eliminated pop a long time ago. Pop has no nutritional value. It's just empty calories. So, if you're really a big pop drinker, incrementally decrease it within your day, and then start reading labels. You'd be surprised on how much stuff is hidden in our food. There's a lot. If it says sweetened naturally, that's a sugar. Sugar is a sugar, natural or not. Anything that ends with OSE, fructose, sucrose, ribose, it's a sugar. And then I started to eliminate the breads and the crackers. I am French. So yes, every meal I grew up with, it was on the table. And it was hard, but I started to eliminate. I did bread once every other day to eventually, completely take it out, because it wasn't getting me where I needed to be. And I was just mucking up my progress. So,
Right. Yeah. And all those kind of things. I mean, like as you go setting like little tiny goals of like, look at your day, right? In your eating that you have currently, and break it down. Like what does it look like for you? Right. And one of my favorite parts of, and it's a true statement on the subconscious programming aspect, is find somebody. Like, I think that's my favorite part of what you're doing is a lot of your job is breaking the subconscious program. That is what you're doing, right? And with that, as and you're helping others do it, where a lot of people don't see their own subconscious program, right? So, like we talk about this with that programming that just dials in. The biggest issue will always be, yeah, you're subconscious 95% of the time. So how are you going to know if you're doing it or not? Right. So, we talk about this a lot. Like people go, oh, I want to do conscious parenting. So you tell your kid one thing and then you subconsciously do something completely different. You have to work on you first. Right. So if you want your kids to eat better, right, you have to subconsciously do it for yourself. You can't expect them to be any different. I could give you a story after story of the mom that or my patients that have had weight problems, and we've talked about it, that mom or dad had major health and eating problems as they went. They tried this diet and that diet like all the time, but their subconscious kept eating the same, right? It wasn't that they were a bad person or they were misintended, right? It has nothing to do with that. They'd even tell their kids. So, you have this. One time I had like a fitness instructor, basically. He was a big, huge guy. Well, then his dad, he's so loving, which is awesome, but his dad just would beat himself up because his dad was always overweight. And so it was always a hard thing. But the fitness instructor was kind of learning. He had almost a negative because he didn't want to see his dad, have the amount of health stuff he did at a young age, right? You don't want your kids learning that way. You don't want your kids were learning because, man, I want to see, he was a fantastic father, and now I don't want to lose, I might lose him, and so I'm gonna like change my habits based on that, right? And that's really the heart of it. And where it's one of those things where once you start it, the people around you will be able to do a lot more. So learning these habits of smaller plates, increasing your water, better timing, like making sure you're eating every day, like what Dr. Rachel is like an expert in now, giving those pieces of advice and how much to eat, right? If we start getting into those roles, a lot of times we're going to notice a big difference on that. So
there's two things that
go ahead.
I noticed. There's two things that I noticed as I was dialing things in for myself that I didn't realize that I was automatically doing because it's like those automatic habits. And we're kind of like engineered or genetically made to automatically react because that's how our brain, we were cavemans and cavewomans and chased by lions, but now we're not anymore, but we still have that programmation DNA in our brain. So part of it is what you're saying. But anyways, so one of my things that I realized was while I was doing supper, I would eat and sample and taste, and then I would fix the supper for the kids, fix myself my supper, And then once the kids were done, I would pick up and then eat off their plate. So I'd eat 3 times over the amount that I needed, totally unproportioned protein, fat, and carb. And then I would wonder, okay, why am I not, get at a healthy weight point myself? Because I'm eating good food. But you can eat good food in the wrong portions and still not be healthy. And that was one of my things. And then my other one, which is my sleep habit. I would use the late night as my time, my mom time. I deserved an hour of me.
Oh yeah.
But then I wouldn't go to bed until midnight, and then I couldn't get up in the morning, and it was like the chronic. It's a debacle.
Well,
Chronic snooze button pusher.
You started that. Now I remember my biggest one is I was one of 3 boys in the house, and we all ate like vacuum cleaners. And so every time I see a pizza that we would get, let's say our family would have a pizza, and Rachel actually helps me with this because a lot of time I still do it. I will still not understand. Usually the day of the pizza arriving, there should be an empty pizza box leaving, right? In the days of boys, you're the first there to know the size of the piece that you wanted, right? The one with the most stuff on it. That's number 2, right? So you have all these focuses, and you are, as soon as dad drops that sucker off right in front of you, it's all on. It's game on. Like for 3 boys, it was like, and of course I'm the smartest and the most and the oldest. So I would make more moves, ergo why I'm the chunkiest of the 3 boys. Like as we go, but one of the neatest things though is to understand that and like really dive deep into that. No one did that on purpose. No one made that like, it's some kind of negative thing. But I'm like, oh my God, look at, there is pizza left. I can't leave that alone. That's just sitting there. So what I've started to do was close the lid, get rid of it. As soon as it just get it out of the space that it was in. And that helps. It does. Because I'm telling you, I am a pizza maven, but the subconscious program will suck me in like I've never had one before. That's what it like. But those are, those little things, like those little tiny habits. So I would like evaluate those all the time. As a person, you could just, start looking at those on your 1%, as we go. So yeah. You got any other little tricks, tips?
Well, my trick when I'm really tired, I have to be careful. That's when my brain will play tricks on me. So I go to bed. I put myself to bed early, so much that there's a couple times I'd be like, seriously, you're going to bed? I'm like, yes, because there's no food up here and there's food down there. And that's not going to help me. So it's just
stuck to that too. Like
stopping and realizing, and making a choice. Sometimes I would choose to veer off and it's completely fine. But when I was on a really good roll, I chose to stay the path. And that's how you get to your goal, by just doing those increment choices that will get you forward towards your goal.
Right.
So I put myself to bed early, knowing that I would be well rested the next day. It would set me up even better. And I wasn't in the kitchen.
So here's a positive on what you just said there. So you go to bed earlier. So now all of a sudden your body's ability to heal is much improved. So not only did you not overeat or eat something that has inflammation in it, let's say, now you've gone to bed, right? Now you're rested more than, and you've been really good on that. Like, for a long time.
I'll be honest, the springboard definitely threw me a sidetrack. It always does. And we are more aware of that too. So spring forward and fall back are 2 times that my body goes wonky. And it takes me a while to get back on track.
It's interesting once you start getting into a good routine, right? Like like somebody said, the merry-go-round goes around no matter what, right? It could be a good merry-go-round or it could be a bad merry-go-round. But when you get the merry-go-round either thrown off the merry-go-round for a minute, it's still hard to get back on there. So no matter how, if you got all these good habits going, it's going, and you're like, yeah, I'm learning French, I'm meditating, I'm visualization. I just did a bunch of herbals. I grabbed some herbal tea. That's awesome. I did an exercise thing. Now, I'm eating right finally, and then vacation happens, or spring break,
Spring
or
break.
you
But
got
there, I mean,
time delay, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, maybe I got thrown off I want to get back on that wagon, right? And so you can get there. You just have to know, you're in a healthier spot to be able to get on there easier than you were before, if that makes sense. So
and I have it stuck still on the mirror. Practice, not perfection. Practice. Right. And right. Consistently practice. So then that goes back to your 1%.
Yep. Everyday thought processes will get you there the most. Today, probably the best part, I would say, would be as a 1% improvement. We always do it to find a little bit here. Open it up for questions, but my 2 fans are probably on vacation, I would guess. I got like 2 or 3 fans. It's pretty awesome. Feeling good. I haven't got my Tom Paulette on yet, man. I got to get her and my brother Ryan. Those are 2 guaranteed spots that I got to make sure, like they're
watching. Get your squad going.
Yeah, I got to get our fandom back. But now that we know what night it is and all those kind of things, but so one of mine is write a sticky note on and put it somewhere where you're going to see it. I'm going to eat different today. You don't have a plan. Just say, I'm going to eat different. I'm going to choose different in what I eat. Right. And so don't put so much pressure on yourself. Talk to Dr. Rachel anytime you want, as far as that goes. If you want to like ultimately learn, a different way to help that subconscious program. The coolest part tonight is like Amy is learning how to really advance this so that we really know what subconscious programs are setting us up, because sometimes we don't even know what the subconscious program will be, right? So just do that as you go. You will, especially in eating, you will notice such a massive difference. I always, and Rachel does this too. Pretty much every doctor has noticed it. If we get a patient to stop doing pop on a regular basis, it's probably the most profound health change that we see. You want to tell them about that? Like what happens when a person stops doing pop? Or do you want me to keep
go ahead.
Okay. So like with anybody that stops doing soda pop on a regular basis, I'll say do it for 3 weeks. Try to not go with pop for 3 weeks. Okay. So, the normal, this is going to be hard, right? And then they get through it and then they're like, yeah, I'm done. I go, here's the best part. And they go, what is that? I go back and do it again. What? I go back and drink your favorite pop today. And they, of course, go, oh, okay. And they try it and they get sick instantly. It's almost instantaneous because their body does not know what to do with that. Massive amounts of ultra processed chemicals that just go in your body and you have not had it. So your body was like, oh, I'm swimming in luxury. And now you threw the trash into the ocean. That's basically what happened, right? And so your body's going, oh, I thought I got you out of this situation, and then you bring it right back. And so your body will all physiologically show you how bad pop is for you, right? The problem is like we 1% bad habited it all the way up, and that's what gets you. So you can 1% the other way, right? It takes that 1% or more in the beginning And then now we have to kind of reverse that process. So that was my little story on that one. So another 1%, no more pop. Done. No
Kind of
more.
like boiling a frog.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
Can we tell them about that one? Yeah. Just to end it, we'll give that one. Okay. So one of our favorite chiropractic analogies of healthcare as we know it, right? Holistic healthcare. So if you take a frog and you stick him in a pot of cold water on a stove, and then you slowly turn the heat up, really slowly, like a couple degrees, the frog will never jump out. To the point, and this is a true story, to the point of it will go to sleep. It will go right to sleep, not even trying to get out.
Frog leg soup.
Yes. If you boil the water and have it at its hottest point, as soon as you try to throw the frog in, it's trying to get its butt right out of there, right? That is the boiled frog mentality of our healthcare system. It's been that way a long time. It's our life system, like how we work, how we do. We slowly integrate stuff that is not good for us into our day-to-day lives. The stresses, the mental stresses, the food stresses, the toxins, the different traumatic events, right? All of those lead to this slow, unhealthy, the situation that we can reverse. We just have to know, what we're going to do with it. So we'll keep this one short tonight. Thank you, Dr. Rachel, for coming. Maybe you can come again and do this interview again.
Are you inviting me again? Did I pass
absolutely.
The test? Oh, okay.
If you want to.
No, it was fun.
On Sunday night, it's usually like we're pushing it pretty good. So yeah. I know I'm a little nervous about the time right now going into the spring and summer, because I really like staying out until later on a Sunday. We'll see. It might still be 8:00 for right now. It is, and then we'll evaluate that as we go. It might go back to like 9:00. That's where we were starting, but
that's my
nine's pretty late.
That's a problem.
Exactly. But yeah, so you guys enjoy your week in Michigan. We're starting to see that 50 degrees. It's starting to be more normal.
It was nice today. Awesome. I'll agree.
I would love to feel that more than once in a day. So I'm
going to wave so that I encourage you to say bye, because you're 8 minutes over.
Bye.